Hello again and welcome back to another one. And today we have a couple of topics to cover, from one that continues the drama that Eminem's latest album kickstarted on a couple of songs, and this one is a continuation of the Candace Owens saga. After Candace lost her cool in reaction to Eminem's lyrics, and word about this clash reached her audience, and some of them have been having a meltdown over this, including boxer Ryan Garcia, who recently got busted for doping. And we'll expand on this in a bit, as the knights in shining armor certainly came out the woodworks to protect Candace O. More on this in a moment. And today we also have more on the death of Slim Shady, as we got to hear from the collaborators on the album, from Big Sean all the way to the reporters on the skit from Detroit. And believe it or not, the game is still getting dragged, even though Eminem completely ignored him on this album, and for that reason, he's been catching hands on social media. And before we dive in, some new stats for the death of Slim Shady have hit the web, as Eminem looks to have earned the most organic hit album of the year. So organic, CO2 levels in the atmosphere dropped on the 12th of July globally. But for real, check it out. The death of Slim Shady Coup de Grace by Eminem officially debuts with 63.78 million streams on the Spotify Global Chart, the biggest rap and fourth debut overall of 2024. Filter rate 0.3%, and a filter rate of 0.3% has got users in shock, seeing as Megan Thee Stallion reportedly got busted for losing roughly 30 million streams for her latest album after Spotify's quote filtration process, and stakes like, wait, that's actually extremely organic, and more actual fans streaming his music, no bots, no fraudulence, no payola. And according to the latest reports on the biggest artists in the world across all DSPs combined, Eminem extended the gap at #1 in the world, and takes like these continue to blow up. Lyrically, Eminem might just be the best mainstream rapper we've ever seen. Bar for bar, I feel like only Wayne can come up with the type of bars he comes up with. And on this note, this is what I will say: Eminem showed, as he always does, that he can really rap better than most. And reception like this is why I find it hilarious whenever we talk about Eminem's numbers and people try to shoot it down with takes about how numbers don't matter, because if we move the discussion to rap skills, it gets even worse, especially when you compare him to quote new school rappers. So we are better off sticking to the numbers, because rap skills, the skill gap is even wider. And from Math Hoffer, I love the new Eminem album. Thank you, sir. Folded hands emoji. And moving on, we got to hear from the collaborators on the album. For instance, Big Sean shared this on IG stories.
I just heard Eminem's album. Shit is fucking fire. Happy to be on it. I've been busting my fucking ass, pause. Finishing my album. And I'm just fucking tired. I miss my son. And I'm just fucking tired.
And we got to hear from JID, who first tweeted, "My hip-hop heart is happy." And he also shared this on IG stories in reaction to Eminem's verse on Fuel, the part that included that impossible rhyme scheme. He reacted with, "I'm freaking honored. Thank you, Eminem. You are truly legendary." And before we get to the game getting dragged, Jelly Roll, featured on Somebody Save Me, stated, "I can't believe I'm on Eminem's album," and he took to IG to expand. "I always say my childhood heroes lived somewhere between Willie Nelson and Eminem. As a teenager and still today, I could recite every song on the Slim Shady album, the Marshall Mathers album, and the Eminem Show when I bonded out of jail at 17 years old and was sneaking into ciphers and battles in Nashville. They would also play the Lose Yourself beat when I came out on stage at the freestyle battles. I related to every word Eminem wrote. I understand him and felt like he understood me, which is rare because I spent most of my life feeling misunderstood. So you can imagine how I felt when I got the call that Eminem would be sampling my song Save Me on his new album, and for him to use the song to discuss the other side of what could have happened if he would have allowed his demons to win brought me to tears. If you haven't heard it yet, check out Somebody Save Me on Eminem's new album, The Death of Slim Shady. Special shout out to Paul Rosenberg. You've been nothing but kind to me and treated me like family and gave me opportunities I didn't deserve. Forever grateful. And even the reporters who worked on the skits shared details of how this happened. Check out some snippets from Click on Detroit's Local 4 News.
Dropped in its entirety. Guest contributors include Big Sean, Dr. Dre, and I was surprised about this, two of my own colleagues, Devin and Kimberly. They're featured on one of the album's interludes titled Breaking News.
Yeah, cut it off right there.
Yeah, right.
Language, but yeah.
That's a good place to cut it. Devin and Kimberly, tell me, give us a scoop. How did this happen?
We don't really know.
It's funny. I mean, well, over the years, we've been called a couple of times, and we go do the stuff in the studio. He kind of gives us a general idea of what he's doing. We never really fully know what he's up to.
Right.
And we'll go record. But he's very conscious of what we do. He seems to like us, which is nice. But he'll say, this is kind of in general. And then, how would you do this if you were news people?
Right. Which is kind of the most flattering thing, don't you think, that he's looking at us and kind of like, how would you say this, or how would you write this?
The funniest thing is Kimberly and I we'll go into the recording booth and we'll record our part, and when it usually takes one or two takes because it's what we do all the time. We come back into the control room and Marshall always acts like, wow, you guys, that's amazing. And we're like,
really?
If there's a genius in this room, it's probably not us.
Exactly. But what an honor to be listed among the collaborators, Dr. Dre and Big Sean and Eminem.
Steve Miller. We are listed on the album credits under musicians, which is, we'll take that.
Not MCKG or MCD.
No, don't go that far. But, I think we've got a picture. The first time that I can remember, and this is the only time I've ever asked for a picture, this was 2019, right after I had my son. So that was, 5 years ago. And from then, I don't know how many times
we've done it a handful, but we never know necessarily what he's going to do.
If it's going to make it.
And did you get a heads up that this is going to drop today?
Very little heads up.
No.
Very little.
I mean, you read it.
And moving on, Eminem's album hit the political side of the internet when facts don't matter, and it becomes about who can twist reality the best to win the debates. As in response to this tweet about Candace Owens firing back at Eminem that goes, Candace Owens just obliterated Eminem, laughing emojis.
Not.
That went viral. In response, Ryan Garcia decided to meltdown on Twitter. He started off with, I love Candace Owens, and he continued, Eminem is a Satanist. It is not even debatable. I always thought he was overrated. But hey, that's just my opinion. And he kept going. Wait, Eminem is a homo? Eminem equals gay. And he cleared it up. For the record, I don't care if Eminem is gay, nor do I care if he was straight. Just keep the devil crap he's doing in his music videos away from kids. And if you're struggling to keep up with what he's on about, well, this is what a meltdown looks like. It is usually incoherent. And he kept going. Retweet if you think Eminem is gay. And he continued, nobody is scared of a Satanist. Perhaps he's got Eminem mixed up with MGK, which is tragic. But he just had to play the victim, just like Candace Owens. And he added, they can push that devil-ish, but if I talk ish, I'm in trouble. This world is effed. And mind you, even some people familiar with Candace Owens' work who actually paid attention have all agreed that she messed up with her reaction to Eminem. Check this out, for instance. She dissed M first. He responded, now she's mad. She is normally great at debating, but this time she was in her feels, her emotions, making her say stupid-ish. But this kind of truth in the political space would never go viral, and we even got some doubling down on this spin that Eminem is attacking Candace Owens. It goes, Eminem is literally racist, walk with me.
Can white liberals please stop telling black people how to be black? Now walk with me. Eminem is the latest white liberal man who has decided to degrade Candace Owens and remind her that she's black. Well, it's reminding me of when a particular leftist told black people who don't support him, then you ain't black. You would think that a man who has spent his entire career being reminded that he's white would understand the ignorance that that statement holds. Now, it is no secret that Candace Owens and I don't align on some recent issues, and that's okay because we are both independent free thinkers. But one thing that is not gonna slide is Candace Owens, a black woman who started an entire nonprofit to empower black communities, being called a Klansman because she doesn't align her views with what Slim Shady thinks she's supposed to be pigeonholed into believing. If Eminem ever tried to defend his views against an intellectual like Candace, he'd feel more pressure than a submarine going to see the Titanic. The name of the debate, Ocean Gate.
Incredible. That shit was funny. It was funny as fuck.
And this is said when Candace Owens literally brought up the race angle first. And moving on, in reaction to a report on the list of name drops on Eminem's latest album that amounted to 87, this blew up on Twitter. Funniest part about all 87 people that Eminem name dropped is that the game didn't get mentioned once. Skull emoji. He made a 10-minute diss track on Eminem just to get ignored again, loudly crying emojis. And the entire timeline is laughing at the game. But remember, even the game has already admitted that the beef with Eminem is fake. On the Vlad interview,
maybe my Rock Nation brunch, maybe my invite get lost in emails. Right. Maybe, you know what? Maybe it's in the spam. Hove know what it is. I think that at this point, I think he has a lot of respect for me. I definitely got a lot of respect for him. It was never really no malice. It was more a hip hop thing. He was the top dog, and I tend to do that. Even on my last album with, throwing shots at Eminem and beefing with Eminem, it was just me being upset with Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre can't out-rap me, so I just went at M, just because that's just how I get sometimes. But it's always competitive. It ain't like I'm gonna see M and be like, what's up now? You know what I'm saying? It's M, you know what I'm saying? And then M took his shots on a record that dropped, and M is a funny guy.
So he has pretty much admitted that he was looking for clout, so Eminem pretty much refused to give him what he needed the most. But over to you guys, share your thoughts below. Thanks for watching and see you on the next one.